One full week with the Nintendo Switch 2. I mean, let's be real, most of us played here, right? So I think the real question in everybody's mind is, was it worth it? Was it actually worth spending the $500-something to go and do it? I mean, the experience alone, going to a GameStop and doing this was indeed fun, but was the device actually necessary to play all of these games? Because at the end of the day, there's just one exclusive that you can get. Like legitimately one Nintendo exclusive. I mean, first let's just talk performance. The performance alone is nice. Sure, it's really good, but at the end of the day, I'm just replaying old games that I've already played before, right? Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom, Link's Awakening. These are all titles I've played before. Yes, I've played a ton of Mario Kart World, but again, it's just the same games. Now the question always is it worth it? Is this thing actually worth it? And I mean, for some people it is, and for others I would say, probably not. Yeah, I know, probably not. And the reason why I say that is because this kind of reminds me of like the iPhone upgrades. You know, when you get a little marginal thing and you're like, oh man, better camera, a little bit better performance. That's what this feels like. This isn't the huge generational kind of like revolutionary leap that we get with Nintendo when they went from the Wii U to the Nintendo Switch. This is really like the pro version. Now I've been enjoying Mario Kart World, dude. Like, it's been a fun time. I've been enjoying Breath of the Wild. It's been a fun time. And I think that as time goes on, there's gonna be plenty of other things. But honestly, the Switch 2 itself's experience after a week, there was a high. There was a big high. And it's kind of balancing out. Now again, this question that I think gets thrown around a lot is whether or not this thing is worth it. I find it to be really worth it to me. And I think part of this that I want to talk about a little bit more and more as time goes on is the idea around this whole Nintendo subject. So first, we have this idea around the whole litigious nature of Nintendo, which a lot of people have been talking on. I just watched a really good video from this girl who talks about video games. And this video was really heartbreaking, talking about all the different things that Nintendo has done in the negative world. Now, I'm gonna try to get this first try. I didn't. And I thought to myself, how do we justify this as people who, you know, like things even though companies do things that we don't like? There it is. It's done. Ready for me. Nice and hot. And I'm only gonna speak a couple words about this. So there's a specific content creator, you may know him, you may not, Point Crow. He got a lot of his stuff taken down by Nintendo. They're like, you can't make Breath of the Wild content the way you're doing it. He just got a Nintendo Switch 2. I look at what is going on in general about all of this stuff, and I can't help but think that maybe, just maybe, we need to ask ourselves certain questions when it comes to our gaming, our hobbies, whatever, right? And yes, this is about my week with the Nintendo Switch 2, but also, I mean, we think a lot on this channel, right? Hot. I always drink the coffee when it's too hot. All right, I really like the lines. Everything looks really nice. Also, it's, look, my daughter, she made a picture. It's just good, and the acoustics aren't the best in here, but hey, cheers. I have been loving my experience with the Nintendo Switch 2 as a personal one. Sold my Steam Deck OLED, something that people have commented saying that was a bad idea. I've genuinely just been enjoying every single moment with this thing because it speaks to me as a gamer. It is a device that grants me access to the games I want to play. And I don't focus on the company that made it. I don't focus on their practices when they were making playing cards for the Yakuza back in the early 1900s. I don't focus on these things because I got kids. I have a house that's just not gonna get cleaned today, and I have so many things that are so much more pressing, right? I received a text message from a friend around their Nintendo Switch 2, and I'm gonna read it for you. I just have to go get my phone, but I'm gonna read it for you. Now, I want you to remember, Nintendo Switch 2 sues the living pants out of everybody and puts people in jail. Okay, ready? One of my kids has had a lot of medical challenges. He came home as a baby on a ventilator with a feeding pump, tracheostomy, and more. Thankfully, he's grown a lot and no longer needs all that equipment, but he does have a lifelong lung condition, so when he gets sick, it hits him much harder than most. This time, it had led to another hospital admission. Yesterday, our Switch 2 arrived. We didn't open it. The kids didn't even know it was there. The plan was to surprise them all last night and play together for the first time, but with this unexpected hospital stay, those plans changed. So last night, I spent the night at the hospital, and I surprised the little guy by bringing it with me to the hospital. We got to play it together for the first time here. Thought you'd appreciate a real life use case that only the Switch can truly make happen. Pretty cool. And he sent me a picture of him and his son in the hospital. Which story do we choose? Which experience do we choose? Which memory, which thing do we latch onto? Do we decide to go with the litigious practices of the corporate overlords, or with the father who shared a moment with his son at the hospital? His son's fine, by the way. Which one? I find myself running to those moments, running to the times where I can share moments with my children, and the Switch 2 after a week has allowed me to do some of those things. It also is not necessary. Yes, I said it. Okay, it's not perfect, but this will do. I like the lighting here. I mean, I got a little light right there. The Nintendo Switch 2 shipped with Mario Kart, Cyberpunk, a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and a bit of a backlog. And for some people, I would just say, hey, you can wait. It's fine. It's fine. And I'm coming out with a video about FOMO to help you with that. But honestly, when it comes to the Nintendo Switch and when it comes to gaming in general, I feel like I am finding myself choosing to look at it with a certain light, choosing to look at it in the eyes of that father, choosing to spend my moments with my children, choosing that over anything else. I had recently watched a video that articulated why this person, this content creator, fell out of love with Nintendo and sees them as kind of this like dirty company a little bit. And while I was watching it, I was brokenhearted because I was like, everything that is being expressed is absolutely real, right? Nintendo did make some of these decisions, but I realized that when it comes to our reality, our focus determines our reality, right? Thank you. Thanks a bunch, Qui-Gon Jinn. And what we focus on genuinely, truly determines the reality that is in front of us. My wife actually said something pretty profound. She often does. She's a very, very profound person. I'm really showing all my cards here. You're seeing the total mess of the house. Does this make me more relatable to know that my house is a mess? Also, I'm wearing sweats today. She said that everybody's life is perfectly curated to them. Because no matter what experience you have, that experience is yours to keep. But unfortunately, and this is my addition, social media has made it in that we think that the experience that we want is the curated life of someone else's. And so we live in this perpetual state of yearning for the life that we see behind the camera, right? Again, unintentional that I was gonna go here. Why I have just stuff everywhere, right? Okay? This is my daughter's new favorite toy. Hey, shout out to the parents. My daughter literally becomes obsessed with toys, takes them everywhere, and then they will end up on the floor next to this and the remote, which I'm gonna put I'm gonna put this back because we can never find this thing. Okay, this goes right there. I don't know why this is here. No clue why this is here. Let's sit there. So you came for the Nintendo Switch 2 talk and you leave with a life lesson. All right, you know what? Hopefully it wasn't too banterful and I'm not quite done yet. I see everything with the Nintendo Switch 2. I see all the experiences, conversations, all this with the Nintendo Switch 2 as a potential for a reset, a potential for a moment. We can focus on all of the problems with the industry, focus on all the greed that we may think is happening, focus on all of the different things there, and really let us feel awful and find others that feel awful about it and do this together. Or we can choose to focus on the other thing and choose the elements of gaming, elements of this whole hobby that we want to actually enjoy. Whether it's saying, you know what, I'm just not in need of going for the Nintendo Switch 2. I'm perfectly fine with the PlayStation 5 Pro or whatever it may be, or I'm not this, that, and the other, whatever it may be. We all have those options. And I think now is a good time to exercise those options. And there are plenty of people out there that I think are ready to enjoy something with other people. I mean, I, for one, have been trying to curate a Discord that's around that. You know, sometimes you have it, sometimes you don't, but I think we do a good job. So if you want to join the Discord, you can easily find the link while I'm live, some days a week. And the very experience that I think people are looking for is just to belong. And the Nintendo Switch 2 has created a FOMO around, should I get this device? And then hatred is a lot cheaper. It is extremely, extremely inexpensive financially, and it's easily accessible to dislike something and find others that dislike it, because you don't need to own a Nintendo Switch 2 to dislike a Nintendo Switch 2. I'm not suggesting that's what you're doing. Cheers me so that you feel a little bit better. Also, how many Nespresso shots is too many in a day? That was number 4. So, at the end of the day, I think what it comes down to is where in this space do you find yourself more gravitating towards? Has Nintendo put a sour taste in your mouth and you just can't quite get on board anymore because of their practices? If that's the case, that's fair. I don't suggest getting the Nintendo Switch 2. Are you looking to continue your old backlog, your library, whatever you call it, and play that in the next generation? Sweet. I think anytime from now to whenever it's available is a great time to purchase a Nintendo Switch 2. Are you waiting for that big, huge AAA release, that big, huge exclusive release, Metroid, Donkey Kong, whatever, to come out to really pull you in to play the Nintendo Switch 2? Sweet. Wait for that release, although I feel around those releases it might be more challenging, right? Are you just on the fence? You don't know. You're like, is it really that much better? Yes, it genuinely is that much better. Performance is better, screen is better, battery life seems to be having some complications right now, but I'm assuming it's gonna fix itself. All of this stuff, all around, everything that the Nintendo Switch 1 did very well, the Nintendo Switch 2 does extremely well. And so the device itself is absolutely better. So I hope that answers some of your questions while letting me lay my heart out there. I want to see this generation flourish. I don't really care what console you use, whether it's the new Xbox, Asus, ROG Ally, whatever, dude, or it's a Lenovo Legion Go. It doesn't matter to me. You'll see me obviously talk about Nintendo stuff because I'm a fan of Nintendo games and like sharing those stories with you guys. And if you're looking on how to describe this place to someone else, be like, hey, JD Coffee is a dude who has been very passionate about gaming and all facets of it, but honestly, he was introduced to Nintendo by his dad and he's introducing that to his family. I find myself really enjoying introducing it to my family. And since I'm not a single man only worrying about myself, I look to introduce my family to things that they can enjoy too. And I find myself being able to do that best with Nintendo games. I want to know how you feel about it. Let me know in the comments. Let's keep the conversation informative, right? Don't attack each other, but let's get the comments going. The last video popped off and it was great. Remember, I am also streaming from time to time, just to talk and chat and have a good time. So you can join those on Twitch or here on YouTube, because why not both, right? Okay, as always, play more and be kind. See you.